from a strength. Ain't nobody man enough to feel the pain. And you could be next. You
Like,
better give
if you
respect.
type in IQ test on the internet, like 1,000 come up. I don't know which ones are
Take
real.
a few different ones and then average your scores.
Right.
Have you taken one?
Huh? Yeah.
What was your score?
I range from 140 to 150 usually.
I got like a 177.
177 my ass.
It was a gimmick test I took then.
Yeah, like,
Oh, it was a sports IQ.
dude, I would get borderline retarded. Like it would come up and say recommended for euthanasia.
What about if it
I'm
was?
pretty sure like 190 was like the highest score you could get, and I got a 177.
What if it was like a wrestling knowledge IQ?
We should take one tonight.
That would be tight. But to your other point, you were asking because we told you about the lie detector test that this guy took that proves that he's gay.
Yeah, officially.
Lie detectors are a bigger work than IQ tests.
Yeah, isn't the percentage like just like really low?
Yeah, and it's outdated technology that is completely disproven scientifically. But did you know the polygraph was actually invented by William Moulton Marston, the creator of Wonder Woman? That's why she uses the lasso of truth.
I don't know that.
Did you know that William Moulton Marston also had a live-in maid that he and his wife both fucked?
No.
Yeah. Dude was into kinky shit. That's why Wonder Woman's original weakness was being tied up by a man.
That's
It was the only thing that would depower
I'm
her.
into that. Like,
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
At some point, are we going to address this bandage on my head?
I don't know. Are you going to stop being a baby about it? It's just
Well,
a concussion. Don't be a pussy.
I'm pretty pissed about it, dude. Like, what I don't understand is, like, we're just trying to do a wrestling podcast, and you guys are, like, making me take bumps and stuff and trying to make it, like, real.
Life is
You
a
made
work,
the bet that you were going to unmask.
and
you
the
didn't
podcast
wanna-
is a shoot.
I was mad that Lucha Jon was going to unmask. Like, I thought that would ruin this show, and I had to do something to stop it. And it took doing what I did to stop him unmasking. I don't regret it.
God, you're like my Chris Jericho, my WCW Knight in Shining Armor.
I just couldn't let it happen. I don't know. It was nothing against you. I knew that you wouldn't die.
What? Well, if it wasn't against me, why'd I have to take the bump?
Well, I knew you weren't going to die. I knew
Because
we just
we're
had
the
to,
ambassadors of violence.
we just had to get you out of the way for a night, and it worked.
We get together, and I'm like, hey, you guys, we should just do the unmasking as a short video for the YouTube channel only, because you can't unmask on iTunes. And that's what we did. And I set up this video, then friggin' T-Cat tells us he's not going to be here for it. So you were already at my house. T-Cat buries us, says he's not going to be here. And I'm like, how are we going to do this unmasking that I planned if he's not here? And then I was like, well, we might as well record the whole thing for iTunes too. So I got to go get a computer. And you guys swerve me while I'm gone.
Well, the pictorial evidence is on YouTube. Anyone listening should just go and witness the rise of La Raza. Orale, vato,
So is that going to be part of like the kayfabe of our show? You guys will just do that shit to me whenever you want, and I have to deal with
It
it?
was a one-time thing. I had to stop the unmasking. Sorry. It's over now. As
You
long as
are a scumbag.
We've congregated in the temple once more. Lucha Underground is back. Lucha kayfabe is sacred.
It is January the 27th. He is wearing a Lucha Underground shirt. I do want to talk the Royal Rumble, so I will bury the fact that you guys swerved me and pulled the total dick move. You poor souls on YouTube will never see him unmasked because obviously this guy is not going to allow it to ever happen. So I'm never going to make a bet like that with you again because you won't pull through with the bet.
You can see as much
Wasn't
of
my
my
idea.
face as you want, though. I'll be here all day.
God. How was your Tinder date, by the way, fag?
When? What night?
Monday, when you buried us and didn't show up.
That was to
That
work
was the
you.
work. Are you getting double worked? You're getting retroactively worked.
I was in the Lucha Jon mask.
I know.
I used that to work you.
I was just thought you may have actually went to the Tinder date.
No. I didn't even have one. Tinder's been slow lately.
See, I go to work all day. You don't work all day. So
you
I
go to
didn't-
work and he gets to work in you all day.
So I figured you actually had a Tinder date.
I have recently, but I didn't have one that day. I've been going on OkCupid lately.
No, I know you didn't have a Tinder date. I was just messing with you.
Okay, Cupid?
Yeah, it's like a new app.
It's not new.
You should go to Farmers
No, a new
Only.
app
new
for
to
me.
you.
Well, it's tight because you get to put like a whole profile.
Have you
Either
gone on
way,
Christian
you guys
Mingle
hit
yet?
you guys hit me with that belt, and that was a freaking bump, dude. So too sweet
It was a
because
one-
I took a bump for you.
Okay.
Too
yeah.
sweet, and I do have a bruise on my head, and it hurts.
Mhm.
and I decided to have Lucha Jon draw the CM Punk X on my bandage.
God, can we bury this? You only had to miss 2 days of work because of the head injury. Let's fucking.
I worked you. I didn't miss any work. I always go to work. Work is a work.
Life is a work.
Let's move on to
the 2016 Royal Rumble, which we
We're
witnessed.
talking that before Lucha Underground?
no. Let's just talk Lucha
Yeah, it's
Underground.
chronological.
Okay. All right. So
Because I get to sit back while you guys talk Lucha Underground, because I've already said my piece on the Lucha Underground Pilgrimage to the Temple episode, which you guys can listen to earlier in this show.
honestly,
you
there's
just-
not a ton to talk about with Lucha Underground. It wasn't. I mean,
So-
it was a pretty good episode. It was
Was
short.
a title change?
Yeah, it was short. Yeah.
So I don't need to break my NDA anymore. It's public knowledge, but I'd like to hear your guys'.
Let's talk about it really quick, since it'll be quick, since he doesn't have a lot to say. Which is always, anytime he doesn't have anything to say, it's
Yeah.
a pretty quick topic. So, anyway, we watched Lucha Underground tonight. It was my first time sitting down and watching like an episode live that I had never seen, or that wasn't already seen by a bunch of different people. I enjoyed it. It was just short. It seemed kind of short.
Well, they're only an hour.
I know, it just
Yeah,
goes
hour
by so
with
fast.
commercials.
But
Yeah, they're an hour plus. They actually spend time with a lot of promos and backstage craziness.
I did like the swerve that you got to witness live, where they did the #1 contenders match and then immediately rang the bell to have the actual title match. I thought that
Which
was
is what's
cool.
crazy. Katrina actually announced that ahead of time on the show. They didn't tell us when we were in the temple, so it was a total surprise for us at the taping. What's crazy to me is there's actually a full great trios match that was recorded in that same session that did not get aired. So I don't know if they're saving it for a later episode or what.
Well,
So there's
39
still more
episodes.
chances to see me in the temple.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, it's a shorter season this time. It's not
But
gonna
you
be
got
full
to see
39.
2 episodes. There's obviously another chance to see you in the temple because
Yeah,
you
but
saw
it
2
might
episodes.
be a third chance.
So did you see episode 1 and 2, or do you
Yes.
not know the second episode that you saw?
I saw episode 1 and 2 because
Okay.
it took right off from there, but we watched an episode that didn't even contain all of the stuff that was supposedly episode 1.
What was
So-
your match of the night on Lucha Underground?
Yeah, you've been catching up on Lucha Underground. You've binge
Yeah,
watched the
I've
past
seen,
week.
I've seen
so.
the full first season. Yeah, I was surprised that they went with a title change right away. First match, #1 title change, and
Oh yeah, the Gift of the Gods title.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
gone. Phoenix doesn't have it anymore. But
Crazy.
I like that match. I liked all 3 matches. I've turned into like a giant Angelico fan, so I love anytime I get to see him. Eva Lise, love her too. The whole episode was great.
Let's see. The reason I believe that he dropped the title, from what I understood, with some of the rumblings going on when I was at the temple, Phoenix is injured.
Oh,
Nothing super serious, but I think he's going to be out for a while, so they wanted to drop the Gift of the Gods to Cuerno, which I got super work. You can actually see on the first episode, it's so dark in post-production. They do everything in
That
dark
was my
red
biggest
tones.
disappointment with the episode, is not seeing you once.
It's super
Like, it's hard to see
lurid,
it.
but you can see me the moment they ring the bell and King Cuerno is now crowned with the Gift of the Gods.
yeah.
You can see a guy in a shiny mask stand up, throw his arms up in protest, and just mark out in devastation.
Yeah, Cuerno worked you.
I wasn't too upset though, because dude, he deserves it.
There's
El Hijo de Fantasma is a great wrestler, does great stuff in AAA, and then the whole King Cuerno gimmick is aces.
Aces.
Yeah.
Aces.
The Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. Being able to catch up with all of season 1 was a great week in my life. Like, I enjoyed every second of it.
Now here's the, before we move on, I do definitely next week when we record, I want to have a couple people call in who wanted to talk about Lucha Underground, so we'll cover it a little bit more.
I'll allow
Once
that,
we're
I
two-
guess.
Once for 2 episodes, who fucking says you make the rules?
I got the computer. I'm the head of this podcast.
I've got the Lucha
I make the
mask.
decisions, but I said that I'd allow it. I didn't
I'm
say
the
I
draw.
wouldn't allow it.
Yeah, well, I'm just making sure you know your place
Okay.
and you know your damn role.
Yeah. Maybe I won't show up to that one either.
All right, we don't need you. Anyway,
So do we want to talk Rumble?
we can talk Rumble, but I wanted to get one last piece from T-Cat. Katrina's bangs.
Oh, man. Katrina
At Hall of Bangs.
at Hall of Bangs. Katrina, season 1 Katrina worked me so hard the entire season. Like there's something about when she comes onto the screen, I like actually get like a fever.
She's smoldering.
I don't know what it's different than most. It's different than just being like hot though. Like when she's on the screen, I take my shirt off to avoid passing out because I get so overheated. And then that was without the bangs. Seeing her with bangs, like the shorter haircut with the bangs, I didn't take my shirt off because I didn't want to excite either of you two, and it was the first time watching it with you two. So I held it in. I was like overheating though. It was like one of those car hoods
Sweating.
that's starting to smoke. It was like that, but
Like the T-Bird did that one time
yeah, like
at the Naj parking lot.
oh yeah, it was.
Yeah, dude.
It was
He,
exactly
had to
like
leave
that.
it there for a couple days.
But yeah, Katrina. I want to see her in the ring though. I want a Katrina Evilise feud because Katrina can wrestle and she
Evilise is
hasn't
fire,
lucha.
dude.
Right? Getting to see her,
Watching Mil Muertes throw her around was just like, ugh.
and that's the thing. That's the part I've been wanting to tell you guys about for so long. Is that moment where Mil Muertes spears Katrina and Evilise goes for the schoolboy roll up, and you think it's actually gonna fucking happen. The crowd went nuts.
Oh, sorry, dude. I wasn't supposed to be. That was supposed to be muted.
Dude, you
Uh,
fag.
dude, a little bit of
Is that your
professionalism.
Mofo's account?
No, it's
Your
expired.
Starbucks gift card right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
What a shock! You're watching porn.
So,
You can't even pay for
I'm,
it.
I'm excited. Lucha Underground is here. I'm excited to watch the episodes with you guys week by week. It's going to be awesome because we're not behind on anything right now. I decided not to get caught up on season 1. I was just going to watch season 2 and really enjoy it. And then I figured I'd go watch a couple of those like 10-minute videos that show you what happened in season 1 so I can catch up because I cannot get through 39 episodes. I just don't have the time. That's a lot of time. 39 episodes.
It's worth it.
Yeah,
Worth it.
I know. Okay, so 2016 Royal Rumble, the 29th edition of the Royal Rumble. Next year will be the 30th, of course. And I'm just going to start this conversation by doing this. If you did not know that on the Royal Rumble Sunday, we had a live stream on our YouTube podcast. Our YouTube channel had a live screen of us in this gorilla, drinking, having a good time, watching the Royal Rumble.
You
And
drank
this,
quite a bit.
I did. Gentleman Jack. It was good stuff.
Quite
And
a bit.
Yeah, and a
You
bottle of
fucking-
Fireball.
You went aquatic.
And Suplex City was here. He was sitting right here. We got pretty hammered. But if you did not watch
You
the
got
Royal
Brandon
Rumble,
hammered
I'm
down
sure
right.
you saw somewhere on the internet that AJ Styles debuted. And I'm going to start this discussion by playing this for you.
That worked exactly. That was exactly how I thought it was going to go.
This was our live reaction to AJ Styles on our YouTube channel.
We're gonna
You
be
can listen
posting
to
this
it.
as a separate video.
Yes. It'll take a second to get here, but T-Cat, you just say some priceless things here. Like, you're like, never heard this music before.
I know.
Yeah.
Number 1 sponsor.
It's gonna take a minute
Like
to get here.
that's supposed to be a thing that people love, but like nobody cares when he does that.
Right. Okay, that's the cue right there. I know that's where we're about to get worked hard.
Here we go, dude. 7, 6. This is keeper of the ring.
Rubbing his hands together.
And I'm like shaking my head.
Right.
Sheamus.
Dude,
You like look off like what?
yeah, dude, I'm confused.
And right here I say AJ.
No.
Lucha Jon with his arms out,
Yeah,
just
dude.
doing the guns, dude. Hey, you gotta get over to our YouTube channel. You gotta see this reaction video. It's,
Yeah, that's a great sign off right there.
yeah, that's perfect. Anyway, there's
I've
so
seen a lot of
much.
different reaction videos to video game
Ah.
trailers, all sorts of bullshit. But I have never seen any kind of over-the-top pop like us marking out
I have
the
watched
phenomenal
that.
one.
I've watched that so many times this week, man, and it's just so cool that we were all here in that moment, and we got to witness that. We had a special guest with us, and we were live on YouTube, so everything
Chatting
was
with some fans who marked
Right.
out just as hard in the chat.
yeah. And there was a guy in the chat named P1, right?
Yeah, the phenomenal
so-
one. Big
Well,
shout out to the phenomenal
yeah, for
one,
being
by
our
the
guinea
way.
pig, our
He
GP.
showed up. He was the first guy who showed up when we were just testing the stream. Want to say thanks a million, man. we are honored to have fans like you who are willing to help us grow and develop the show.
Pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. And speaking of fans, real quick before we can actually review the Rumble, I totally botched the IHOP Mania IHOP T-shirt video.
What do you mean you botched it?
I had my phone plugged into my computer at work, and I was deleting a bunch of crap off my phone because I was running out of space.
Are you serious?
And I accidentally deleted that 3-minute video, and
You're
I couldn't.
the wackest
I'm the
motherfucker,
worst.
and
I'm
you're
the
not
worst.
doing any video recording from here on out.
Yeah, I'm the worst at that. But anyway, basically, you can win a free T-shirt. I'm sorry for not getting that video out to you guys. You can win a free T-shirt from ProWrestlingTees.com by just checking out you tweeted a photo of the shirt, right?
I did.
So go and find the IHOP Mania IHOP Repeat shirt.
I'll bring it back up. To the top.
Bring it back up to the top. You guys retweet that, but quote the tweet and say what your favorite order is when you go out to breakfast. We're looking for a very specific thing that we're all over for.
Yes, the
and
primary PHO gimmick.
The first person to hit us with that.
What we're looking for. I had the night of the Rumble.
I know
Yes,
you did.
Yeah, right after the
I
Rumble.
was jelly too.
And you're going to have to do some research of our podcast because there is definitely a time where we talk about that.
That's true.
Multiple times, I think.
What?
Anyway, let's talk about the Rumble.
The best thing for
Yes.
me, like, should we talk about the Rumble first or just talk about the card leading up? Because, you know what? I have to say, all things considered, there were a lot of ups and downs, some flaws that we can discuss. But I think that overall, we witnessed a solid damn Royal Rumble.
It was a fun event.
As a show, not just the match itself.
Yeah.
It was a fun event. Absolutely.
KO Dean was great.
I think it could have been. It's one of the few matches that could have benefited from some color.
Yeah.
But I felt it had a good.
They let them kick
some
the
good
shit out of each
spots.
other, though.
I thought a decent ending.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I thought the Sasha moment was just awesome when her music hit. That was so freaking great. You know, Charlotte retains against Becky, and we're kind of pissed about it. You know, but we kind of knew.
Well, and
I didn't think Becky was going to go.
No, Becky
over.
didn't stand a chance.
But Sasha coming out.
She's the Jannetty of the Four Horsewomen.
Sasha coming out gives me hope that if she goes into a good feud with Charlotte, I can actually maintain some sort of likability towards Charlotte in that feud.
What's great is we watched that match and we marked almost as hard at that moment as when AJ came out.
Yeah.
Hearing "Sky's the Limit"
dude.
after so long of being blue-balled with "I'm amazing."
Oh, Naomi's music.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah,
Right.
And I legitimately didn't
Tricky.
expect her to come out either.
No,
It was that was a real swerve.
It was a good swerve. I thought that it sucks. You brought this up multiple times throughout the night. The Kalisto ADR match could have been so much better if they hadn't botched it 2 weeks prior.
It was actually a damn good match.
Right. It was a good match.
I sit at my house sometimes, I'm sitting in a chair and I'm thinking about what the thought process behind that whole thing leading up to the Rumble
I think my theory is correct.
They would really do that? They would really mess up that bad?
Yeah. Have you ever watched WWE?
Yeah, dude.
It just made no sense to do what they did to get to what happened.
I genuinely feel...
It has to be what you say.
I genuinely feel they looked at Kalisto and said, you know what? Sin Cara's out. We need a new Rey Mysterio Jr. We need a new Hispanic star. Let's strap this guy with the U.S. title and make him really get that over.
It had a lot to do with Cena's injury, too.
Since he's an immigrant, even though the guy is from Chicago, they thought, let's give him the belt. So they had it change on Raw to get a big pop. And then they immediately remembered, fuck, we have a pay-per-view 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
So they had to immediately the next night give it back to ADR just to try and fix it to set up for that match.
Yeah.
I can't think of any
It's really
other
the
reason.
only explanation, so I believe it.
Yeah, and part of that push to him, it came at the expense of John Cena getting hurt because Cena was supposed to go back into that program with ADR and battle for the U.S. title because they that's a perfect title to put on Cena because he pushes that whole Patriot thing and everything.
It's a perfect thing to put on a luchador.
No, I
so a
know.
luchador can get it over in the
I know.
States
But
with the United States title.
But they're always going to push Cena when he's healthy. So would you rather him have a mid-card belt or the belt?
I'd rather him just be in random feuds and leave the
You'd
belts.
rather
to
him
the
get
talent.
hit by a bus too.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
that's absolutely.
Anyway, so
I thought it was a really good match, and I'm excited to see because Samurai Del Sol is actually pretty decent on the mic. He's getting over. People have started doing the lucha chant without him throwing up his arms and working the crowd into it.
my daughter
so
does it. She
I think
loves
he's
it.
getting more and more over. The guy's incredible.
He's really good.
his Samurai del Sol matches in like CZ Dub and PWG, the guy's like Phoenix level.
He had matches in CZ Dub.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
CZ Dub, Evolve, like dudes was huge in the Indies, and then he also did Octagon Junior down in AAA.
So I thought overall it was a fun event. I had a lot of fun watching it with you guys, and then the Rumble had a lot of peaks and valleys, man. I mean, it really, really did. Obviously we'll get to the ending, but let's talk about the way it started.
Number one entrant.
It was Roman Reigns.
The reaction in his home state.
Yes.
Almost universal boos.
Well, if they haven't learned by now, they're not going to learn. This is like the 4th time they've tried to do this. It never works. And then they panic. They switch, and then they go back to him later. There's another botch. Didn't work. And
yeah, they panicked and put it on Seth, and he was perfect, and then they went right back to Roman.
And they think people are going to be into Roman this time. Not going to happen.
No, especially after how Seth carried that belt for a while.
God, Colby the Carry King.
Yeah.
What I really loved was the nice touch of feeding Roman Rusev right off the bat. Because you think, oh, God, Roman's being booked strong. He's just going to eliminate everyone. This is just going to be his night. Fuck the fans. And then AJ.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, perfect to have AJ come out at 3.
I'm not engaging in overexcited marking hyperbole right now. I would genuinely put it in the top 10 greatest moments in WWE history.
It gave me chills. And I just, because I was never a TNA guy, and I literally in the last 6 months,
dude, in the last 2 months, since paying attention to AJ.
No, since all the way back to the Gans at least.
Yeah, the Gans was the first time. That's only like
I know that was
3 months.
September. That was 6 months ago almost, dude. September. What is that? 9, 10, 11, 12. That's like 5 months ago.
4 months. But yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, so that was the Gans.
Point is, if people have been listening to this from episode 1, they know that you've been giving me shit for AJ Styles.
No, I've been giving you shit for TNA, just as that's like a work though, just because it was so funny the first few times. But AJ is legit, and I told you that the first time that you ever put me over one of his matches. I was like, yeah, he's pretty freaking good.
He's the best.
And I loved him just being an indie star, and I've been terrified that he was just. I knew he would debut at the Rumble. I had a freaking deep feeling about it. You were completely on the other side of the fence.
No, it's tight.
And we made that bet, and I just thought, you know what? AJ and this signing and the time that it happened, they signed him the day after he had a Wrestle Kingdom match. You know what I mean? Like, they did it on purpose. They did it that way on purpose. And of all those people they signed, he was the only one that was like, you knew he was coming over immediately.
For me, it's just the ultimate vindication as a Smark and an alternative product fan, because the number one thing that WWE people will say is you can't bring these guys in, they won't get over, people won't know who they are. At the most you can give them is a spot on NXT like they did with Finn, like they did with Joe, and let them develop and build them up before they debuted. This was the first time this man had been on television in a WWE event. He didn't even make it to the fucking ramp.
He was still in
I Am came up. The screen flashed up the word phenomenal. And what?
Boom.
Tens of thousands of people started losing their fucking mind.
Yeah, and not to mention the next night on Raw when Stephanie and Vince are trying to cut that promo and the crowd starts chanting AJ Styles. And you could just see how pissed they were.
But you can try and tell me that people don't... It's proof that there's hope in the WWE universe. That these people know these indie stars that are truly talented. The reception he got, like that picture you can see of him with like moist eyes on the way to the ramp.
Right.
Looking at the reception, which is one of the best things, especially for me. Like, it's great to see an indie star come onto the main roster and get over, like with KO.
Mm-hmm.
But with AJ, like, he's been my boy.
Yeah.
He's in my top 10 favorite wrestlers. I have loved him for like 11 years straight. So to see this for him,
fucking decade.
Yeah, it is more than a fucking decade.
I don't think there is hope though, because you say that it gives you hope for WWE. Do you really think that?
I think
There's
what he
hope.
means is
No, it gives me hope
for
in
the
the
universe,
fans.
the fans, like
The
they
WWE
actually cared
universe.
about a guy like that.
Well, I knew that they would, but that doesn't mean anything if he's just gonna be in the middle of the card like he's about to be.
Well, yeah, I don't have hope for WWE.
Oh, okay.
I just have hope that these fans will actually show and vote with their money. Not by watching alternative product, but by... Because they put up an AJ shirt, sold out immediately.
He outsold.
It's a stupid
He
shirt.
like outsold Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
He
it's a
outsold
shitty shirt, and
everybody.
it's still sold out because it's AJ.
I got one from Pro Wrestling Tees the same day.
Yeah, I bought one too. We both ordered from PWT before they're not available because we wanted Alan to get the money.
Speaking of which, I don't know if that's going to be the case. Because Steen's still up.
Well, plus it's his name. Like he can sell. He has the rights to that name.
I guess that's true because it's Kevin Steen.
Yeah.
AJ Styles is
So-
Mark Allen.
The best.
I meant AJ Styles. It's his name. That's what he's used. Wasn't that part of his WWE deal that he gets to keep the rights to his name?
I think he just keeps his name. I don't know if he keeps the merchandise.
I read
rights,
that his
but-
contract states that he gets to keep the AJ Styles name. He gets to keep they can't change his name to some CJ Fashion or something like that.
Love dropping
Yeah, I
that.
do.
Sell it
He
tight.
he gets to
For
be
New
AJ
Japan.
Styles. He gets to be the phenomenal one. He gets to keep the Styles Clash, and that's what I read was that he doesn't have
Okay,
to
but he
change any
didn't
of those
give
gimmicks.
he didn't give his copyright of AJ Styles to the WWE.
No.
He still owns it, so he could probably still sell shit on PWT because he owns AJ Styles.
I just don't. I wonder if that'll actually happen.
So
You never know. It's
the
so
best-
up in the air. WWE keeps trying to tell us that we're changing, maybe, and evolving. So you never know. With
Well,
that.
then Joe tweeted out something that said, right after the Rumble, he tweeted out something that said, "I told you 2016 you were going to see a lot of changes. Strap in, it's coming."
Joe.
Samoa Joe.
Samoa
Oh, okay.
Joe.
He said strap in or something like that for 2016. A big change is coming. So I'm just hoping that we're going to see this insanely awesome battle of all these indie stars.
Before we
on the
move
Raw.
on to the rest of the Rumble, I want to talk about another Samoan Joe. That's Joe and No Eye.
Yeah, I was
And I
going
want
to
to
say.
talk about the just dejected look of
That's what I was going to say. That's the best
universal
part of the AJ.
spiritual
thing that we're not even talking about.
decimation.
His name should be Samoan Joe. That'd be hella funny. Like Samoa Joe versus Samoan Joe.
The look in his eyes when he sees AJ coming down, and the fact that he's supposed to be the top guy in the top company, and this guy comes out of nowhere from the indies who's never been in the company, and the response he gets just from having his part of his nickname on the
That's-
screen.
That's what I found interesting. The fact that WWE booked the Rumble to where AJ would come out to an empty ring where just Roman was in for that standoff.
After having eliminated someone to make him look good.
So I'm wondering what they thought the reaction was going to be, because if they knew that people would be going crazy for AJ, would they want that to happen in the ring
No, I
with
think
Roman?
it totally backfired on them.
Well, they thought they'd be in the ring and everybody would be chanting for Roman.
Yeah, they thought that people would not recognize the music. They wouldn't really get the whole AJ
But then
Styles thing.
I think you just put him in a random place. So it was a very calculated
It was.
way to put him in.
I think that it was a pride thing that they wanted to bury AJ in that spot and say our guy is more over and we're going to prove it right now, and it totally backfired on them.
I don't think even Vince thought that Roman Reigns would be getting more cheers than AJ Styles.
Vince is a freaking
Vince is a geriatric,
ridiculous person though.
septuagenarian fool.
Vince
fuck him.
thinks that Braun Strowman needs a bigger push.
That's true.
There's backstage shit from
Can we
Meltzer coming out
Can
that
we
Braun
talk
Strowman
about?
should be better.
Obviously,
Yeah, we can
number
talk about
3 is one of the most amazing things we've ever seen.
20?
Number 4 made me so happy.
Tyler Breeze?
Tyler
Oh.
Breeze.
Yeah.
I was so happy that he got at least a decent pop. Got to come in. He clashed with AJ for a while. I wish he'd stayed in there a little longer, but it was nice that he's been completely buried since coming up. But at least he got that little pop.
I still don't understand him getting buried. He's so talented and just such a great character, but I thought it was cool that he got to be in the Rumble. That he did get a big pop. That was good.
And then it was pretty uneventful. The kind of guys you'd expect to come out, members of the fucking Wyatt family.
Yeah, that's just a slow kill
No
me right
nostalgia
now.
pops. No guys
Yeah.
from the old days. No Hacksaw Jim Duggan run in. No. No, I expected it like an Al Snow or some kind of ECW. Like,
One guy that I saw like accidentally, like I hate looking at Twitter like ever because I see like stuff, but I accidentally saw a tweet like a week or two before, and the quote was something like, I forgot the quote of the tweet, but it was he was trying to put out a hint that he could be in the Rumble, and it was X-Pac.
Mhm.
And I
See,
was
that would
hoping
be tight.
like, that would have been sick.
Mm-hmm.
that's the kind of like, there's usually
He
a
came out at
nostalgia
Mania.
pop.
He came out at Mania.
And a nostalgia pop at the Rumble has become kind of a tradition, and it's always fun, but we didn't get that. However, as you alluded, number 20 was what we on this podcast have been wanting for
He alluded
months.
And what's that?
Number 20.
And
Sami
who
Zayn.
was it?
Yeah, our pop for that was way more insane than the live crowd. Like, I've watched that over and over again, and the live crowd was into it, but they weren't nearly as big
Wasn't
as they.
nuclear.
Yeah, it wasn't like AJ pop.
Yeah, the him coming in was great, but
KO
just as good or probably better was the reaction of KO.
God,
Absolutely
KO
better.
sold his confusion and rage and desperation there so much.
dude. And then when he came in, they just started throwing. They just started throwing on each other. It was like perfect.
It happened
was like,
so quick though. Like
Yeah.
like
That's how
he
we all
came-
thought it was gonna be, though.
He ran in, but
Yeah, we thought it was going to go in, punch for like a minute, and then throw him out.
Yeah, and then like I'm done with the Rumble. I'm good. I came here. to
that
do
would
what
have
I
been
did.
cool. if
I
he would've
came
done
here to
that.
make sure KO wasn't going to win, and now I'm going back to NXT to try to get my title shot.
See, and that's where I draw the line and take objection. This seemed like the perfect time to transfer him up to the main roster,
Right.
start him fresh with a heated rivalry that's spinning out of one of the big 4 pay-per-views. The next night on Raw, Sami Zayn should have cut a promo. He should have interfered or done something during his KO's crap match with Dolph Ziggler. It's wasted momentum. And then I just don't know what they're doing with Sami.
Yeah, it was an NXT star making a surprise appearance at the Rumble and going back to NXT. It wasn't the beginning of anything.
Which is dumb.
You hit the nail on the head when you said wasted momentum, because they had that pop, they had that rage from KO, they had that moment. They totally could have went right into a program with each other, and they're not doing
And
it.
it's such a slam dunk, automatic, like great feud.
Maybe they're
Yeah.
saving it.
There's-
I don't know.
There's
but
nothing that's like more sure of being great than that feud. They just don't want to use it.
Here's the thing.
The only thing that's as sure is a super kick party and like a Young Bucks match. That's
I
that's
agree
as
with
much
that.
of a sure thing as
Yeah.
like a.
I want to see it Fastlane. I want to see the last attempt for KO to reclaim the IC title, and I want him to do it. I want him to take the IC title. That way, at WrestleMania,
It's done.
he can put it up against Sami.
Yeah, but the
It's not gonna happen.
IC title isn't even going up at Fastlane.
Well, not at this point. They haven't announced anything, but
Well, I mean, the IC
He'd have to
title
be
holder
double-
is in the main event.
He can be double booked.
I guess.
It's not the first time he's been double booked in a pay-per-view in the last few months.
it's just that program's done. Those guys have had like 3 or 4 matches against each other.
What's disappointing is the fact that he had the title totally ruined the suspense of the last 2.
Right.
Now, by the way, I'd like to rub it in a little bit. I fucking called it.
You
Triple
called like
H.
the last 5 entrants. You called
order.
like in order, yeah. Sheamus, Triple H. That was pretty funny, dude.
Yeah, Triple H came in. He's going to get the belt. He's going to hold it until WrestleMania when Roman or someone is going to take it from him.
And then they think that's gonna work now.
Yeah,
The fifth
one
try.
more time.
Could be.
Yeah, it could be.
Could be. No, never.
Never. I never. I hate them.
But did you see the pop when it was down to H and Mox? People were rallying at the idea of, oh my God, is this Mox's time?
Yeah,
Because he may not have had that push right to
Mhm.
there, but it felt organic. It was like Colby running in at WrestleMania. Just out of nowhere, blam, this could be his
yeah.
moment.
There's not many people that like the fans care about. It's a really short list right now, and
Mox is there.
and Ambrose is there. Like
I love
it took him a while to get there. Like I'd say about 6 months ago, he wasn't there, but now he's fully there. Everybody loves him, and people were fiending for him to win that Rumble.
You know, you talk about the fans caring about people, and it's like, obviously, like you said, you have hope that the universe actually cares about AJ, and they care about him being there. And I love the fact that he skipped NXT. It builds up his prestige even more. It's like he's that much of a big deal.
JBL said former IWGP
Right.
champion,
Yeah,
same
JBL,
as
like,
Brock Lesnar.
Might have been halfway sober when he said that too.
Yeah, they had to try to. They put him next to Brock Lesnar so people knew.
But
Well, yeah, because he's other than
like that's what they
So if
equated.
the-
he
it as.
should have
there's
then
a-
said and Big Van Vader.
if there's a short list of who fans care about and AJ's on that list, there's all these fans blown up on Twitter before AJ even showed up, and it was like, you know, people complain and they bitch and they moan about certain guys not getting a push like Cesaro and all this kind of stuff, and then oh yeah, this indie star AJ comes in, you want to push him immediately, and it's like that's how it should be. That's totally how it should be, because it's the absolute proof that good wrestling and good like a constantly good character and a constantly good guy at promos and all that kind of stuff is the recipe for success in the wrestling business.
Well, and it's also them toning down their arrogance at pretending that everything he's ever done doesn't exist.
No,
Because a guy like Samoa Joe can't walk in and be like, all right, I'm going to climb my way up NXT. A guy like Samoa Joe's been around for 15 years. He needs to come in strong. And they finally did it with AJ, saying this guy is already... He is the top guy that is not in WWE.
I think what the reason Joe didn't climb the way that, like, the reason Joe didn't get the same opportunity AJ got is I think Joe came in, 9 months ago, and that was still at a time where NXT was obsessed with the idea of these, like, older guys coming in and grooming the younger talent. These other guys that have all this experience from all over the world, like Rhino. Rhino came in and just jobbed to a bunch of people, but he's like a good guy in the locker room.
But he's also a
And
guy who's
like-
already had a WWE and ECW career.
Right. He's
Like,
got a ton of experience, and like, I think that they're obsessed with that idea, and I think they might have realized, hey, we might have dropped the ball on Joe a little bit. Let's do it different with AJ, and that's why AJ got this spot. I really do think that had something to do with it, because AJ is too good for NXT.
I don't think that's it because they're not on that different of a level. Like AJ isn't that much bigger than Joe.
You don't think like,
Like,
the
I'm
Joe
one of the
is
biggest
that
Joe
respected.
marks on the fucking planet, but I have to say AJ is a different level. Because here's the difference. Joe is huge. More in North America.
Mhm.
AJ is the
Worldwide
number one
star.
motherfucker in the world. RPW champ.
Right.
IWGP champ. Huge in Ring of Honor. Wrestled in TNA. Like, this guy
Which
was the guy.
Was he in TNA in the Golden Era?
Yeah, he was X Division champ.
think about this
This
too.
is TNA.
AJ, the leader of the Bullet Club, the Biz Cliz, the biggest, most popular worldwide stable in all of wrestling. Yes, Finn or Fergal was the leader of that, but Fergal was more of an Eastern and European
Yeah.
star. He was
He'd
never
never been to the States.
right. He'd never been to the States, and so Finn is a whole lot younger than AJ, and
No, not a whole lot, but yeah.
he's at least 10 years younger than him.
No.
He's 5 years younger exactly.
Really?
Yeah, 33, 38.
Finn just seems so young to me, man. It's crazy. Because he
He's
started,
kinda tiny.
he started so young too, though. That's
Yeah,
so
he did.
he's got a lot of experience. But anyway, if you look at how long Finn's been in WWE, what's it been, a little over a year now? Look how much the Biz Cliz has grown even since that time. Like, they're even more over than they were a year and a half
They're
ago.
like the number one merch seller
Yes,
in the biz.
it's this. The Bullet
Cliz?
Club tee is this.
Cliz, dude.
Is this generation's Austin 316 shirt. It really is. It's this
Only for
generation's
cool
Hulkamania
people.
shirt.
That's
yeah.
why, yeah, it gives you a little bit of like a
Way
cred
more cred.
when you're wearing it. Like
Because
you're not
any
some-
shit eater can
I
order
was
a
just gonna say
316.
shit eater, and you beat me to it.
Sorry,
Yeah.
it's my gimmick.
So what I'm saying is, I just think that it was the right time to bring AJ over, and if they're, it's perfect that they started him on main roster, because if they are going to do this indie push and they are going to bring up Generico and they are going to bring up Joe and they are going to have this feud with Steenster and all this kind of stuff, it's great that Steenster and AJ are already there, and I honestly think they could do a totally awesome like fatal 4-way indie mania match at WrestleMania, but I don't think they're going to. But it sounds like it sounds like
Steen's
AJ
gonna have a tight spot on that card. I
It
don't know
sounds
about
like him and
AJ.
AJ are going into a program right now with each other, like the indie powers.
They didn't set anything up on Raw. So the Raw Fallout show, I thought, was one of the better Raws I've seen in a while, because almost every match had a purpose.
Mhm.
Most of the matches were decent. I got to witness the Lionheart, the man of 1,001 holds, Chris Jericho, Y2J, versus the phenomenal one, Mr. TNA,
On WWE program.
AJ Styles.
Yep.
On fucking Monday Night Raw.
And they totally botched that too, because remember at the beginning of the episode they said, we're going to evaluate talent tonight and determine who's going to be in the Fastlane #1 contender match or whatever.
And then they picked Brock Lesnar, who wasn't even on the show.
Wasn't even there. It was totally advertised to be there. It wasn't there. But
Probably no-showed part-time.
what they
faggot.
if they wanted to take AJ and KO into a program together, they totally could have put AJ in that spot, and then KO could have ran in on him like over the next few episodes, saying like, "No, you don't deserve to be there. I deserve to be there. Why'd they pick you over me?" And totally have this.
And the wonderful
super
heat that
with this
KO
new
got,
face.
he was the one who threw out AJ and yelled, "Welcome to WWE."
Right.
What a shithead heel he is.
Steam. He's not
Rewinding a
steaming.
bit back to the Rumble for a second, not really to discuss it, just because I'm trying to think of an answer to a question I can't remember. Who threw out Roman Reigns in the Rumble?
H.
Was it?
I think so.
Okay.
Because it wasn't Dean. Because that crowd would have went nuts if Mox threw him out. So it must have been H or Sheamus, someone like anticlimactic.
Some stupid.
That was my big thing is they left no cool, smart favorite other than maybe Mox at the very end.
Yeah, he used final two though. That counts.
Yeah, I know, but Mox doesn't have as much
It
smart
wasn't
love
that.
as like Generico.
Plus, in that spot, Ambrose versus Triple H, it's not that believable that Ambrose is going to win.
Because he still had the title.
Yeah.
They totally fucked that up. Him going in, it's like they're not gonna just double strap him out of nowhere. It's not believable.
I did like the fact that they
But
totally...
AJ Styles is getting over and Triple H is champ, so I'm pretty sure it's 2005.
Yeah, I did like the fact that they
not the
totally
current
like
No.
that they totally built it up that like all the members of League of Nations were going to be entrants in the Rumble. They built it up that all the social outcasts were going to be.
And then who
But
won?
what they did, I liked how they did that. They were totally involved in the Rumble. They came out and they beat the shit out of Reigns, and
Yeah, but the social outcasts weren't, and only 3 of the members. That was weird. Wade Barrett was the only one who didn't get an official entrance.
I thought it was wasn't it just Curtis Axel? Like Heath Slater got in
No. I said League of Nations.
League of Nations.
Yeah.
Yeah, Axel
Oh.
was the only
ADR was in
outcast.
for like 5 minutes,
Yeah.
which is weird. Sheamus, of course, was in there for a while. He's such a draw.
Rusev.
And then Rusev was eliminated. Fed to Roman right off the bat.
They think that Sheamus is a draw. I don't get that.
He's terrible. But the big moment on Raw, I mean, it's a cheap pop to begin the road to WrestleMania by paving it with The Rock.
Are you talking about Dwayne?
Yeah, of course. His whole promo was golden.
Yeah.
Him with the Big Show and Big Show getting all upset. The bit where he's talking about cucking Rusev with Lana.
Yeah.
Great stuff. But what I've been saying it for a while. You get the New Day with someone like The Rock or Enzo and Cass or anyone who can actually work a mic, you're going to make $1 million. That was golden the entire time.
I thought that was pretty shoot segment too, where he like interacted with those fans, because I don't think they would have like knowingly let him interact with like a faux Hulk Hogan.
No, that was
like,
shoot.
yeah.
That was hella fun.
I'm surprised that dude even got in the building dressed up like that in front row seats.
Dude, that's why I honestly
Well,
thought
you noticed
Hogan was going to be one of the surprise entrants.
I thought
you noticed that they took them off camera, right? Because that was like the most important part of that whole angle.
they were sitting in a different spot and they moved him, or
The
what?
first, like when Raw opened,
Yeah,
like,
they
the
were
first
sitting.
few-
They were sitting ringside,
they were,
camera
like,
side.
right front row, right in the middle, right in the camera.
Right.
And then they moved him to like that corner where
Mhm.
Rock saw him.
Mhm.
So they purposely took them off camera because they didn't want like the Hogan stuff on camera.
And Rock still drew attention to it.
Well,
What a badass.
Rock did about 8 things in that promo that nobody else could have gotten away with. He was
Yeah, he's the Rock.
The Rock can do whatever the fuck he wants. Because
some of that
he's
stuff
the
he
biggest
said to
draw alive.
Lana was like crazy that he was allowed to say that.
Yeah.
The stuff he did with Hogan, he made a joke about weed.
Yeah.
He's the Rock. He can do
You-
whatever he wants.
Llama penises.
Llama penis is the greatest chant I've ever heard. I'm just gonna throw that out.
Well, in
It's up there with Skinny Dragon.
when he was feuding with CM Punk, that's kind of like
Cookie
the Cookie
Puss.
Puss. was up
Cookie
there.
Puss.
That's a good chant.
Dude, but I kind of thought in my head too, maybe they let him interact with the Hogan thing to see how the fans would accept it, because they're thinking if they want to bring Hogan back.
Literally every fan alive wants Hogan back.
Yeah.
Only faggots who don't actually watch.
Maybe they
You know
wanted
who
to see how the
complains-
media would react
That was just
to
something he did. That was not planned at all.
You know who
No.
complains about sexualization in video games and comics? People
Me.
who don't play video games and people who don't read comics. You know who complains about Hogan saying nigger? People who don't watch wrestling. Fuck the PC crowd and the SJWs. We want Hogan back.
Yeah.
Like, no wrestling fan gives a fuck what he said.
No wrestling fan would even like wrestling right now if it wasn't for that guy.
Well, and the fact that Vince McMahon is the most legit racist piece of shit in the business.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a scumbag.
Vince McMahon doesn't just drop a slur in the privacy of his own home. He actively just is a racist piece of shit, and it shows in his product.
I hear you, bro.
But
So speaking of Hogan, should we talk about our list kind of gimmick thing tonight?
yeah, you totally ruined my bridge into it.
Okay.
But yeah, I do.
How am I supposed to know that you have a bridge into something?
Because I
if
always
if
have like a clever way. I like this.
It popped into my head and I wanted to talk about it.
I'm like the guy who gets fucking ridden by like fat Silicon Valley executives. I'm the Segway. I'm Segway guy. Like it's smooth.
Tight. Would you ride a
But-
Segway to the ring?
That would be kind of.
Someone
Has
did
anyone
that.
done that?
Yeah. It was like,
I remember
He's-
Kerwin White, which was Chavo Guerrero's "I'm White Now" gimmick. He drove a golf cart.
There
which
was a
tight.
Segway spot in some like indie show where somebody like Irish whipped a guy on a Segway, and then like took like a clothesline while he was on it, something like that.
It's tight. But yeah,
Bridge us.
We're gonna bury WWE. I just
Bridge
want
to
to talk.
Terabithia type movie.
That was
by
a
the way.
weird drop. I didn't
said
figure you were a
Bridge.
children's fantasy lit guy.
I'm Zoe Deschanel fan, so
Oh, is
yeah.
she in that? I didn't see the
Yeah,
movie.
she's the teacher.
Okay, I didn't see the movie.
Mark for Zoe, dude.
isn't the
Dude.
kid from Hunger Games in that movie when he was like really young?
No, I've never seen that gay movie. There's no
Me
Zooey
either, but I've
Deschanel
seen the
in it.
posters for it.
I haven't even seen that.
Okay.
I think it was him, that Josh Hutcherson looking guy.
Yeah, that kid.
My skin crawls just looking at him.
Really?
He's like the guy. Who was it? It was the new interview guy at NXT.
Oh man.
Because we watched NXT tonight, and that had that weird fucky finish of Joe and Sammy making Baron tap at the same time. So now
Yeah.
Tight.
Reeves has to review tape.
Reese thinks you're pretty good though.
$9.99. The new interview guy, Alex.
Was that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Dana just clowned.
Yeah. I love what did you say when he came on screen?
He puts out the vibe that when he has sex with a woman, he like asks for permission throughout the entire time. Like he put out that vibe to me.
Like he has intervals, like 5 thrusts. Then
Oh,
he
like-
asks.
He has no.
Confirming consensual.
He has. What's his name? Alex. Alex has no passion in his lovemaking. I can
No.
tell you that right now.
She called him Adam.
He's timid.
Yes,
He's a
he's
timid,
timid.
human being.
Yes.
Just,
He's clumsy. And
that's what I feel about Josh Hutcherson. to
Okay.
kind of
Okay,
bring it back.
let's talk about the list.
But we have watched the ASW 11 preview how many fucking times? We watched it again tonight.
I've seen it probably 20 times.
Because I mark,
Yeah.
we mark every time we see us marking on the video.
It's a fact.
And every time we see Adam Cole, baby, rejoining Rushmore, I think to myself, who would we put on our own personal Mount Rushmore of wrestling? The 4 most integral guys in the history of the business. If you were to make an everlasting monument, who would be the guys that you just cannot remove from the biz?
I have mine.
You have some guys?
I've thought about this many, many times. And I kind of made my list like thinking in the TV era, because I feel like the thing that wrestling has grown into is because of cable and TV and all that kind of stuff. And so I didn't go back to like Bruno days, and I didn't go back to like deep like, Gorgeous George or anything like that. But obviously my number one choice, the leader of the pack would be Ric Flair. That's my number one. Like the promo king, the ultimate tweener. He can be the best heel. He can be the best face. He's just.
And he was the champ.
Yeah,
I
he
don't
was
mean
like-
on TV.
yeah,
I mean
right,
in the
right.
locker room, and that's where his influence and his legacy comes from. Is what he did for all the guys coming up under him.
There's a reason he's the only 2-time Hall of Famer in the same Hall of Fame. Like, simple enough. Ric Flair.
Are we doing like? Cause you can just drop.
Oh,
the
You want me to drop my whole
yeah,
thing?
drop
Oh,
the whole-
Okay, yeah. So I have Ric Flair. I have Hogan. And you don't have what wrestling is today without Hulkamania. Even if he wasn't the greatest wrestler, which he obviously wasn't, he was a hype man. And that dude could make any crowd turn their frown upside down. He was nuts. And he was a merch madness king, and I'm a merch guy. Like, anything that was yellow and red that said Hulkster on it was, like, available.
And he made everything. He made, like
Everything.
microwave ovens.
Yeah.
Cartoons,
Yeah.
action figures that weren't even related to wrestling.
Totally, yeah. And he was in Suburban
Commando, yeah. He's Shep Ramsey.
He's
so.
Shep Ramsey. So, yeah, I have
So does
Hogan.
Hulk Hogan go on your Mount Rushmore, or does Shep Ramsey?
Yeah. So, I have Hogan. I mean, like...
Watch that movie again.
Dude, it's a great movie. I'll watch it right now.
I think I won't.
Yeah. Hot dust. Yeah, I mean, and then his heel turn and joining NWO, there's no one you could ever hate more for what they did, and there's not another person for the rest of mankind. You'll never get a guy that big of a deal to turn and make it that big of a deal. Like, you'll never get a guy that's that huge to be, for his turn to be that big. And then I have Stone Cold Steve Austin as like the guy who basically saved wrestling in the late 90s. I mean, when Hulkamania died and the NWO just turned WCW into shit, Hogan's still involved in that. And yeah, Stone Cold, man. The freaking, you might not love the Attitude Era, but you just love Stone Cold. Just love him. And then my last one was kind of tough because I was back and forth between a bunch of guys. And then it got down to 2, and then, like, during this conversation tonight on the podcast, like, I just finalized it to Dwayne. It's Dwayne. It's The Rock. And my other guy was the guy that I eliminated was The Undertaker. Just for, like, deep kayfabe, like, The Undertaker character is just so over for the last 25 years. Like, it's insane. Like, nothing's ever been scarier or more believable in the 90s. So, yeah, but I went with The Rock because, he, like you said, he could do whatever he wants to do. He's that much of a big deal, so he has to be on Rushmore.
TK, you got yours?
I went kind of era specific. Like, I broke it down in, like, kind of 4 eras of different people. So my start was Ric Flair.
Mm-hmm.
Just from, I started kind of similar to you. I didn't go to the Bruno days. I started thinking around, like, you know, the early to mid 80s. Ric Flair from that time all the way till right now is... Actually, right now I don't like him much because he's always around Charlotte. But still,
God, you guys hate her.
I like to watch his old matches whenever I can, and I'll always love him. So I had Ric Flair for that era. Then the kind of next era, I went with Eddie Guerrero from like the early 90s to like the late 90s, around there. Then I went Stone Cold Steve Austin from kind of like the mid 90s to like the early 2000s. And then my 4th one is CM Punk.
I knew it.
So I have Ric Flair, Eddie Guerrero, Steve Austin, CM Punk.
Perfect.
I think Eddie Guerrero is the greatest wrestler to ever live, and I don't think I would put him on my Mount Rushmore because as much as he contributed, I just don't feel that he's as integral as some other guys.
We lost him too soon. He was still involved in like good feuds when he died.
Yeah.
So
Santo Blue.
my number 1 has to be the guy who I feel invented and brought kayfabe and gimmicks mainstream, and it's Gorgeous George. Gorgeous George was the first guy to say, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go balls to the wall crazy. This is staged, I'm gonna work these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put on women's clothing and go ape shit in the ring. And we would not have Ric Flair, Goldust, The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. All these type guys would not exist without the blueprint laid out by Gorgeous George.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy motherfucker. Number 2, a guy who built the best promotion in his country and has become the wrestling blueprint. The way that people think kind of Ric Flair is the American wrestler, Antonio Inoki is the Japanese wrestler. That guy, his style, his fucking look with just the elbow pads, the fucking boots, the black trunks, he is the prototypical Japanese wrestler.
It's like what Bo Dallas tries to be.
Oh, God,
It's just like the white and the white and the white.
Look at every young boy and every young lion And even guys who specialize in being like Inoki, Shibata, Ishii, they dress and look like him. He is the guy.
Yep.
The next guy I'd have to work in there is obviously the guy who put Lucha Libre on the map, and that's Santo, El Enmascarado de Plata. I mean, that guy is the fucking luchador.
God, I always pop
Put
for
it-
your lists.
Put it on the fucking map.
He always picks 4 guys I would never even think about.
Crazy kayfabe to the point where he has movies about him
Still
where he
wanna
fights
see some of those
Martians and
movies.
shit. I'll bring some over. They're amazing. I mean, he's the luchador. Every single person in Mexico loves him, either as a luchador or as a pop culture icon. He's too important to not have on the list. And my fourth, I'm actually torn. And I think I'm going to eliminate the guy I wanted on there just to have a different Rushmore. I want to put The Rock on because The Rock, to me, even more than Hogan, symbolizes the Hollywood aspect of wrestling. Making it popular, bringing outside eyes to the product. I think he's done that more than anyone else ever. But the guy I'm actually going to put on there because the way he helped integrate so many different federations, the way he helped bring Gaijin over to Japan and really start doing international stuff, and the way he built up hardcore matches, my last guy is going to be Dory Funk. What?
Oh, it's tight.
Like-
It's a gimmick list, though, dude.
Like,
Look at this guy.
I'm going, like, historical. The guys who fucking built this industry, and I have to give Dory Funk. That guy's fucking crazy. So good.
What's your Rushmore 2.0?
Adam
Ric
Cole,
Flair.
Super Dragon, the Young Bucks.
I was thinking about doing that for my Rushmore. It's pretty funny.
Just to be Rushmore. Too sweet.
I think we ought to do a promoters Rushmore. Promoters and managers.
Well, I know who's not on there. Jim
Jim
Cornette.
Yeah.
Fuck you, faggot.
Next week we'll do a promoters and managers
guy-
Rushmore.
Managers, guys backstage who really... I wanted to just kind of make it wrestlers for this. The guys who stepped between those ropes and really built it up. Obviously, there's other guys like Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Terry Funk himself, Macho
Andre
Man.
the Giant.
Andre the Giant was
you always
so...
you always give Andre a lot of credit for building the business.
Andre is like the guy who did what Gorgeous George did 20 years before him and just
Yeah.
was this crazy, unique draw that traveled all over and really
Gorgeous
built it up. Dude, the guy's amazing. Love that guy. Love that guy.
I have to make a correction from last week's podcast, actually. I was watching the 92 Rumble last night. Ric Flair did not go 1 to done in that match.
I was gonna say-
He went number 3 to done.
I thought
Because it started with British Bulldog
he's
versus
never
Ted
done that.
DiBiase.
He's never done that, right? I thought
What?
Shawn was the first guy to
Yeah,
ever do that.
I always thought, because that was his WWF debut where he won the belt in the Rumble. But it started with British Bulldog and Ted DiBiase. And I always, for some reason, thought it started with him, but it didn't. So I'm correcting myself.
See, that's crazy. That's a guy from an outside federation who came in and right off the bat won the belt. So why the fuck couldn't AJ do it?
I was thinking he was going to. I predicted it in our YouTube video.
It's true.
He was Ric Flair, though.
He's Ric Flair, but he's AJ
He was
Styles.
the champ.
AJ is the guy now. Like
I know,
AJ is
I
the
know,
guy.
but it's a different time, dude. It's a different time.
Time will tell. I know that he's got this unprecedented deal. He's already performed the Styles Clash once in a tape show. So, I mean, I think we're finally going to see a different WWE. And this is... I know I'm getting worked because they're on the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah,
They want to get people excited about the product. And then they're going to shit the bed the moment
His
Mania's
peak
done.
is like Intercontinental Championship, I think, in WWE. I don't think he goes any further than that. He might sniff around that belt and maybe even win it, but
But at least he would elevate it.
yeah.
If they can put the Intercontinental title back where it was in the 80s and where it is in New Japan, imagine if we saw a giant SummerSlam feud over the IC title, Nakamura AJ, for the second time.
Or they could just do that at WrestleMania this year.
I don't even know if Nakamura will be ready by then. Nakamura's a guy, because he's not as internationally renowned as AJ, and because he's not as easy to put out in front of people because he's Japanese, and it's a second language, I don't know.
Plus, I think Nakamura is kind of an acquired taste. Like, I don't think anybody, a random WWE fan who doesn't watch anything else, if he watches that match, he's going to be probably like, what is this?
Why? Because he's basically karate Mox.
Well,
He's weird
Did
and
you
goofy
forget about
and
the
shakes
shit
around.
eaters?
But the shit eaters still love Mox.
Here's-
I think he's the most presentable Japanese guy for the American audience.
Here's what I
He's
hope.
So over the top.
Here's what I hope. I hope that this influx of super main event style indie stars coming in creates the brand split again.
Please, Jesus.
Or would be good.
Nothing.
And
They have never made
nothing-
a worse decision than canceling
nothing
that.
works better than for that than to have Morrow on SmackDown.
And SmackDown, that's what it was in the past. That's where all the cruiserweights were. That's where the luchadors
Right.
were. Make that the WCW adjacent again.
And it would be tight because they could have the draft gimmick thing, and then
They could bring this
they
back.
could bring back that belt. They could have the draft gimmick thing where they could totally be like just swerve you and pick someone out of NXT instead of someone that's already in the company. Like bring
they can
somebody
bring
up
a guy up as well.
before you think they're going to come up. That way you don't have to just assume that when Finn drops the belt that means he's coming up.
Not to imagine they could actually cause the initial rift in the Cliz.
Through
It
a
would
draft.
cause through the draft that might cause infighting. Like, what if the Cliz is SmackDown and Finn gets drafted after being brought up from Raw to SmackDown?
That'd be tight,
Boom.
dude. That'd be tight.
Just want Machine Gun and Doc to debut.
I want Tonga, man. I love him. And Ray Buck.
They're not going anywhere.
Are we gonna wrap it up at this?
Let's
at
wrap
this
it up
point?
because
Yeah?
I want to finish PWG 10.
Oh, you guys are still watching that?
Yeah, dude, we've got a sick main event ahead of us.
Is it? That's all we got left on there? Is it
Two
it?
matches.
2 matches.
Tight.
It's gonna be tight.
All right,
All
I'm
right.
Hurley. I'm signing off.
I'm Lucha Jon. You can find me at Lucha Jon, and you can find us at Put 'Em Over. Come shoot with us.
Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun on Twitter. We're trying to get to 5,000 followers.
I don't know. Yeah, because we need to have that awesome IHOP Mania IHOP Repeat shirt
That's
available
such a great
on
shirt.
Pro Wrestling
If you want to see that shirt, you can check it out on our last YouTube episode.
Why are you leering at me over there?
Because you're a piece of shit and you make my skin crawl.
Like, you don't look happy.
Yeah, I don't like you. You're a bad person with bad
I'm
morals
surprised
and
you let
bad
him wear
moral
your
fiber.
poncho. He's got.
Yeah, like
he might have like a Tinder STD.
probably. I want to take this last moment to put over my boy Raphael0666 on eBay. Got 12 new masks on the way from him.
12.
12, and I recommend anyone who wants to be as tight as me, Lucha Jon, hit up eBay. That's Raphael with an F, not a PH. Get yourself some masks. He sells semi-pro at commercial grade prices.
Tight.
Dude, he's
Good night from Put 'Em Over.
He's slinging SPs on,
Oh, you
on that
know
side.
it.
Might
What are
have
you
to get
assuming
one.
the side, Marks?
Later.